Welcome you again to this episode of Physical Geography, where we are still on the action of wave. Remember, in the previous episode, we talked about different functions or action of a wave, where we have said that a wave performs three main functions. We have wave erosion, wave transportation, and wave deposition. So therefore, those are three main functions. And the previous episode, they were talking about wave erosion. And today we are going to talk about wave transportation. So meaning that when a wave erodes the materials, the next function, it is to transport those materials from one place to another place. A wave transports loads or materials from the sea to the coast, or from the coast toward the sea. So meaning that depending on the movement of a wave. Remember, we're talking about swash and backwash. The movement of wave toward the coast is a swash, and that swash can bring the materials to the coast. And when the swash reaches to the coast, it can even come back to the sea, and it brings other loads or materials. So therefore, we say a wave transports loads or materials from the sea to the coast, or from the coast toward the sea. The types of roads transported by waves include mud, sands, weathered particles, and other objects. So meaning that, so those are the materials transported by a wave. We have mud, sands, weathered rocks, particles, and even other objects like plastic materials, like any other kinds of material. Sources, we reach on the sources of materials or loads transported by a wave. So we are going to see where the loads or materials transported by loads are coming from. Number one, the materials transported by a river and the winds. You know that most of the river, they flow toward the sea or toward the oceans. So meaning that when they flow toward the ocean, they can even bring the materials, and those materials will be taken as a load to be transported by a wave. So therefore, materials transported by a river and even wind too. Number two, products of weathering. So meaning that when rocks in the ocean or sea are broken down into small particles, they will be transported by a wave from one place to another place. We have debris from volcanic eruption. So when volcanic eruption takes place in the oceans, some weathered rock particles, some rock particles from volcanic eruption are transported by a wave from one place to another place. Another source is landslides on the cliff. Remember, we have said that the cliff of an ocean, of a sea, can be attacked by weathering. And when weathering takes place on a cliff, as the processes of hydraulic action continue, this will cause the falling or the landslides on a cliff. And therefore, the landslide materials are going to be transported by a wave. So therefore, those are source of road to be transported by wave. We have four main sources of the materials. Then let's look at the factors that influence wave transportation. So meaning that a wave, when it is transporting the materials, there are some factors, there are something that aids, that help it to transport those materials. Number one, we have the strengths of a wave. When we talk of a strength of a wave, here we mean the strong waves transport more and heavy loads compared to the weak wave. So meaning that strong wave transport more materials and even those materials which are heavy, while weak waves transport light and fine materials. Therefore, it is a factor. Then you go to the obstacle in the sea. So an obstacle like coral reef hinder roads transportation of a wave. So meaning that when there is an obstacle in the sea or ocean, this will limit the transportation of materials by a wave. Then we see the nature of roads. The nature of roads. Light roads are transported over a long distance, while heavy roads are transported for a short distance. So meaning that when the roads are too heavy, they will be difficult for a wave to transport them from one place to another. So therefore, depending on the nature of our roads, they can be transported from one place to another place. Then you go to the factor number 4. The speed of a wave. Waves with high velocity transport more roads over a long distance. So therefore, when a wave is having high velocity, it will transport more roads over a long distance. Then we go to the processes of wave transportation. We are going to see the ways through which wave transport its roads. Number 1, suspension. Wave transports very fine and light roads floating on the surface of the water. So meaning that when you talk of suspension, it is a process by which a wave transports very fine and light rods or particles, and those materials will float on the surface of the water. Then you have a saltation. Here, a wave transport medium-sized rods. And you have a traction. This is where the road will transport very heavy roads. Then finally, we have a solution where the soluble roads are dissolved in water, and so that they can be transported by a wave. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and give comment so that we can keep on improving our teaching and learning practice. Have a nice time.